There's been a little thought bubbling away in the back of my mind for the last 12 months or so. Wouldn't it be cool to have a go at this YouTube thing? Wouldn't it be cool to try and grow an audience and just see how I get on? At the start of this year, I took the plunge in terms of uploading regularly, and here are some of my thoughts on the journey thus far, should you find yourself in a similar boat to me and equally as YouTube curious. Hi there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt, I'm an economics graduate and accountant, and today I'm going to ramble at you with some of my key takeaways from my first 60 days on YouTube. I'm going to try and have a little think about the psychological hurdles associated with the whole thing and think about which bits have taken me by surprise, both positively and negatively. So to start off with the big question of why, and the reason why I've decided to give all of this a go is really that since the start of the pandemic, I've spent less time out and about and more time on my computer, and what that's meant is more time watching YouTube videos, and I've actually found myself become slightly sort of invested in certain YouTubers almost as TV characters. And the more I watch these videos, little by little I started to think, you know what, the stuff these guys are doing doesn't seem to be that unachievable. Yeah, they're good, glossy, interesting videos, but it's not like me listening to Ed Sheeran and thinking, yeah, in a million years I could never do what he's doing. So this sort of perceived low barrier to entry, the fact that I felt like I had a vaguely brandable niche, being Big Four qualified accounting tip type stuff, and the fact that I knew I was going to have loads more time on my hands being in lockdown made me decide to give it all a go. In order to give a bit of an extra sense of direction to my new hobby and help stack the deck in my favour, I decided to take part in Ali Abdaal's part-time YouTuber academy, which is currently still going and has actually been so good so far. Although I'm not sure all the tips and tricks talked about in the course have made their way into my videos yet, I do think in the long run it'll turn out to help me loads. One thing I've noticed about this online community that I've recently become a part of is actually how nice and how positive everyone is about everything, which is obviously a good thing in general and not something I'd necessarily associate with myself, although that self-development is currently in progress. But what I hear a lot is things like, starting YouTube's been amazing, starting YouTube's been the best thing I've ever done, which unfortunately for me is not exactly the stage I'm at the moment. The thing I struggle with, and the thing that may or may not turn out to be my downfall, is really a lack of patience. At the start, basically now, it's difficult to shake the feeling that you're just sort of shouting into the dark void of the internet and absolutely no one is listening. It can be hard going to the effort of making videos, which when you're a beginner is pretty tough in itself, and then seeing the view count slowly limp up. I'm now having to focus on changing my mindset into similar but slightly different areas. Firstly, worrying more about things that I can control, like putting out one half-decent video every week, and less on things that I can't control, external metrics like view count or subscribers. A particular issue I've found so far is battling the mental contradiction between, on one hand, not wanting to get bogged down with all the numbers included on your YouTube analytics because it goes entirely against everything I just said. But the fact these metrics exist was actually something that pulled me towards wanting to do YouTube in the first place. The attraction was that this side of things made it feel a bit like a PlayStation game, where part of what's fun and part of what's engaging is the tangible leveling up process in terms of numbers. I think when things are going well and the numbers are looking good, then this can help spur you on. The flip side of this is when the numbers aren't looking as rosy and it turns out to be quite demotivating. So it's probably not a great long-term strategy, but it's still something I'm trying to grapple with. The second sort of mental framing that I think is probably quite important to get right is thinking about progress in terms of the quality of stuff I was producing a few weeks or a few months ago, and thinking about the improvement since then, rather than negatively looking ahead to where other people are and thinking, well, thousands of subscribers feels like it's a million miles away. This is again something I think can be tricky to do and certainly doesn't come naturally to me. I'm trying to use the example of the way that I improved at golf as a bit of a guide. Once you get to a decent standard at something, it's easy to look down from on high at the beginners and think that it's obvious that they should be focusing their attentions on just being a little bit better than they were last time, rather than getting bogged down in worrying about how quickly they're going to be able to turn into a professional golfer. So I think both of these psychological tricks, internal goal setting and positive mental framing, are going to be really important to master if I'm going to keep up the motivation going forward. In terms of reporting back on my progress so far, At day 60, the novelty value still hasn't worn off, which I think is good. I'm still finding the process a lot of fun, and filming and editing videos feels so much more glamorous than my day job of working full-time as an accountant, albeit it is slightly embarrassing, especially when I have to share stuff to my Instagram to try and boost engagement. I just want the earth to swallow me up at that stage.
So embarrassing for your life and your soul.
I do think this whole fun element will prove to be another really important part of whether I'm able to stick with the whole thing going forwards. It would be a great position to get to if my hobby could also be productive in some shape or form too. At the moment it's fun, but given the scale of things, isn't at all productive, and I just hope that by the time any sort of productivity materialises, I'm still finding it just as fun as I am now. So that's it, I think. They are some of my thoughts on the process of starting out on YouTube, very much from the perspective of somebody that is still starting out on YouTube. If you'd like to see a little bit more about how I manage my time between this YouTube stuff, the accounting day job and watching football, then feel free to click the link to the video somewhere up here, and that'll take you straight through. I'll hopefully see you in that one, but that's all from me right here. Have a great rest of the day, stay safe, and bye bye.